Hello, everybody. Eric here for Phenom Crypto. I'm sending this as a briefing to the premium members, and mainly because we are getting crushed in particularly altcoins, but even BTC and Ethereum have been getting slaughtered. Why is this? Well, the main culprit seems to be the Japanese yen carry trade. What does that mean? That means that the Bank of Japan has had rates at virtually zero to borrow money for decades and finally raised their rate, even though it was just 25 bips, started to create havoc in the markets because what a lot of investors had done over the years, smart ones, but these gravy trains always seem to come to an end. They were borrowing in Japanese yen and then going ahead and buying, either interest paying debt and or alpha in tech investments like NASDAQ and QQQ, and perhaps crypto too. I know there has been a very big reaction in tech and in crypto in particular. It doesn't surprise me, but the reality of the numbers of how much money was actually borrowed in yen to buy like Bitcoin and Ethereum, I don't believe we're looking at a number that is, incredibly shocking. That's going to take us down to ridiculous levels. In fact, a lot of that money, I believe, was in institutional grade type of equity markets as well as debt markets around the world. And it's not like people were borrowing yen and buying bonk, for example. So I think that the fear around a lot of this, the uncertainty with who's going to become the United States president, all this stuff, roll it up into a ball, and you're getting a very big panic, fear type of reaction. Now, I want to tell you guys, there's times, and I think some people in the past, if they just hear me pick, like, oh, I bought this at this and I made this much money. I am getting my butt handed to me right now. There's no doubt about it. I actually just opened up some liquidity against one of my properties less than 2 weeks ago and started to, luckily, I do that in, like a process. I didn't just take all of it and put it to work. Some of it that I did do right in the beginning, whatever I bought in futures, for example, gone. I've been liquidated twice now in some futures positions. Luckily, I was not betting big amounts because we really didn't have the technical backdrop where it gave me a ton of confidence that we were going to go one way or the other. In fact, after we got let's call it the Trump bid, Bitcoin was looking very shaky. We were down at 57,000 or so when the assassination attempt occurred. We got an immediate bid, and then we started to see things really move higher into the high 60,000s based on everybody's thought that Trump's got this and he's pro crypto. Look, one unconventional perhaps view that I have about this is that I don't give a fuck who is the US president in this next cycle. My job for you and for me is to figure out ways to make money in any political or economic environment, period. You can have all of this talk about Trump being pro crypto. There's been things floated around like buying up 5% of the float in Bitcoin so that we can make up room to, bring our deficits down. Hey, that would be great, right? But who knows? You guys are going to listen to politicians on the campaign trail. They're professional liars, all of them. That's why I don't date actresses. They're liars. They're professional liars. So just chill out, I would say, for a minute. I mean, I know most of the people that follow some of the things that I say politically are aligned more to the right. But it doesn't matter. This whole situation we're dealing with crypto and a new financial system and a way out of Babylon, if you will, is bipartisan. I don't give a shit what you are. And I am not a political pundit. So you rarely hear me talk about even addressing stuff like this, but it's clear that when Kamala Harris starts to take her, gets the Democratic nomination, she gets out there, tons of money pours in, even more than Trump saw. People start to get nervous that this Trump Bitcoin trade is not certain, starts to sell off. Is it because Harris is going to be anti-crypto? Listen, we had a Bitcoin ETF that was approved during the Biden administration. We had an ETF, which was surprising, an Ethereum ETF group that was approved during the Biden administration. Nothing is going to stop crypto. Get it through your head. There is an alternative financial system. Not only that, but there is a alternative value trading structure that is rising up on the side of a dying, debt heavy, about to fall under the weight of its own shoulders that can't handle anymore at some point. I'm not saying this is tomorrow. It's a dead system. They need to do what we've heard about for years, the Great Reset or whatever that looks like. I'm not exactly sure how that's going to look, but I do like having a large proportion of my assets in gold, in silver, in companies that own the assets in the ground they're in, because they've also been in a bear market for 4 years on the lowest end of that. I love having a good amount of my net worth in Bitcoin and Ethereum and some of the bigger ones like Solana, Internet Computer, Filecoin. There's others, Chainlink, the ones that I, have, when you put it all together, probably about 2/3 of my crypto portfolio is in the top 50 tokens. Then with a third or so, sometimes it gets to be more. And by the end of this whole thing, it'll be worth a lot more than the others, because when the risk on starts to occur, this shit can go absolutely insane. But I want to acknowledge the fact that we have, for example, so check this out. You think you're getting killed? All right. So my my COO right hand, Renee Amaya, some of you might know him, back in, I think it was March or maybe early April, when I was in Miami working out of this garage loft of the house that I rented. I had already turned 125, $150,000 in crypto that I had sent from Binance over to MEXC to hold some of the smaller tokens. And it had already gone to like 600,000-700,000 going into the spring. And I felt uncomfortable having that much money on an exchange I really didn't know all that much about. So I had taken probably 250 to 325, moved it over to Coinbase, separate wallets, whatever. A good chunk of that, which I did early, so I'm not perfect, I sent that to Coinbase, to my bank, to my brokerage account, and started buying up some of the mining companies that have since either gone nowhere or declined in value as well. Anyway, there was a day, I think it was late March, where he comes into the office. I go, hey, check this out. And I do this. I hover over this wallet for my estimated balance, and it was touching 1 million. It was touching 1 million. It went all the way down to like 400,000 and change, back up to around 500. Just in the last month, I've added about $100,000 back to MEXC. So in reality, you could say it's gone from 1 million to under 300,000. That's a big whack, right? 65, 70%. And that's from the majority of this I have in the small altcoins, which are much more volatile. But then I also made some, I'd call it stupid, but it's more like fun for me on trading the futures if it's an uncertain market. When it's a much more certain environment, or I believe it's certain, I get certain triggers and technical signals, I go in a lot heavier, and that has proved to boost my overall returns in my crypto account, especially in like a MEXC. But in the meantime, I would mess around with little bits of stuff that I didn't own, probably, just stupid. But that's why I haven't been recommending a lot or recommending at all a lot of the futures plays, because it's a tough game and you can't think of it like a long-term investment because you can get washed out in a minute. And that's what a lot of times these bigger funds and stuff will do, is they will trigger any sort of over leverage. Right now, we are back to 31 on the fear and greed index, which is low. It could get whacked even further. I've been thinking all along, I don't know how many times I've verbalized this, but I have in individual conversations where when we were going up after the Trump assassination attempt towards 70,000, there is a range on this. And I'm sorry, still sharing my screen. Let me see if I can do this and just give you guys just show you like on a 1 year. So you can see on a 1 year, we're actually coming right down to this channel here, and it's actually more evident on ETH. Let me see if I can pull that up for you. So we're not outside of this, like what has been most people calling a frustrating range. Yeah, it looks like we have almost, I mean, when you look at this line to this line to this line and down, we're about right there. And we are coming up against previous tops here. I bought 100 Ethereum yesterday at 2270 or something. It's just getting too cheap. It's way oversold. I'm very bullish on Ethereum long term. I have no problem with that. What I want to say today is this, just that those of you that are nervous or whatever else, first of all, crypto, I've told you this over and over, is freaking nuts. All right. If you can just adopt the reality that, if you want to come out of this rich or richer, you're going to have to go through stuff like this and even worse. And it is nuts. And the best habit you can get into in times like this, at a minimum, is don't do anything. Certainly don't sell on emotion. The best thing that I think can be done, I have a lot of these recurring buys that are very modest. And I've got those in my Coinbase. I've got those in, even like Cash App and things like that for Bitcoin, where it's like every week, every 2 weeks, I'm buying $333 in this one. Twice a month, I'm buying $777 in Cosmos. Other ones, I'm buying $125 a week in Chainlink. Just very sort of modest stuff that I don't have to worry about plunging in, getting shaken out, getting scared out of it because I was trying to pick a bottom. I don't care, because the lower the stuff goes or the longer that the actual duration takes to recover, I'm buying things cheaply. It's a very small percentage of my overall positions. But to me, this is a very effective way just to not be in front of your screen. If you like some stuff and you're short on it and it's down and you want to put in the recurring buys, I highly recommend that. Now, let me say this. We typically, ironically, have seasonality in, gold, for example, gold miners. We've seen this in a lot of different asset classes. You have seasonality. So there are certain months of the year, times of the year that are very bullish, and certain times of the year that end up being the worst performing months. Crypto's worst two performing months generally, it doesn't have that much history, but August and September can be rough. So we just entered August and we're getting shellacked already. Does that mean that we're going to be in for dire straits here? I don't think so. But I also believe that wholeheartedly, if the Fed is going to start to cut rates, they tend to need pain points to justify doing so. The question I've had is, what are going to be the pain points? They say they don't do it based on market activity, but that's bullshit. If you have a bunch of investors that are getting squeezed hard and losing their shit, the Fed gets that pressure to start easing. But we have had inflation come way down. It's not quite to their target levels, but it is at a place where they can justify absolutely starting to cut rates in September. Now we have 100% on the uh, betting lines that they're going to cut in September. We had like 90%. This was a year and a half ago that they were going to start cutting, or a year ago, and none of that happened. I don't really buy into those things. I think that the Fed is saving their bullets because the next time that we're going to end up having to go back to maybe ZERP is going to, they need to have that ammunition to stimulate a completely debt driven and debt ridden economy around the world. All the central banks will do the same shit. So the one reason why I think the Bank of Japan threw people off with their raising of rates after all this time right now, just because they're on their own track. Their population is hemorrhaging. They've got serious demographic issues and all kinds of other things. And they've been the first one that just started to monetize the yen, quantitative easing, buying back debt, all those things in their debt markets. They've been sort of the poster boy that we've been able to watch. And Japanese people don't have so bad of a life, but as a culture and everything else. But we're going to run into these things everywhere. But as Larry Fink, I hate to quote him, but Larry Fink, the head of BlackRock, has said the reason that Bitcoin is going to be in vogue for a long period of time is because it's a flight to quality asset, meaning he knows the house of cards is going to fall in the fiat system and people will be moving to protect their capital. Where do they go? They're going to go to gold. You may very well still see people that are tripping go to T-bills. And, we'll see. At least now you're getting some return on your savings and your treasuries. If we go back towards ZERP, I don't know. I don't get it. But gold remains solid. We're near those all-time highs. The gold mining companies, the highest level of the gold mining companies have been spitting out very strong Q2 earnings. That doesn't translate down to the little tiny ones that a lot of us at the Gold Investment Letter are invested in. But I do own producers and they're doing great. They're also all getting hit right now. Everything is getting smoked. And we're probably going to have to deal with some pretty rocky markets until we get all of a sudden one day the clouds open and the Fed's about to cut and they're going to start cutting. And it takes a little time for that to start kicking in. But the fact that when they do that pivot, Morgan Stanley just came out and said that they see a 0.5 point cut in September and another one before November because they're a little behind the curve. Could be the case, whatever. I don't give a fuck. You have a chance and I have a chance to stack sats. That's the term that some of you probably know and some don't. Many of you remain under allocated in crypto, and now is a time for you to stack Satoshis, meaning small pieces of Bitcoin, recurring accumulation during the downslide. I really like Ethereum under 2,500. I think that is a great area. And in our model portfolios from back in the day when I started recommending this stuff, again, my first recommendation on Bitcoin was under 500 in 2016. Ethereum, I officially put it on all model portfolios anywhere that I did, anything at $200. It's trust me, we're doing just fine. And if you're not looking at, if you can't see the forest from the trees, you might have a problem. But right now is a great time, guys. Don't run away. Don't get too scared. The big thing that I just want to lastly end up with that's so important and has been one of my big nemesises over the years is position sizing. So that means that at no time do we just go all in or buy up something too much that if it ends up getting whacked because of macro scenarios or a hiccup in that particular company or business or sector, and we get cut in half or something, that you either get spooked out because it's too big of a position and you can't afford for it to go lower, or else you're going to be envisioning yourself living in a tent, or you're just squeezed out because you have not only the fear and the panic, but you had too big of a position to be able to make it through the volatility. And we need to make it through volatility in crypto. We are absolutely on pace. I think Bitcoin will be trading somewhere between 90 and 120,000 by the end of January. So take what you will. I hate doing the price target thing. ETH could double easily from here. You know, some of the stronger ones that we've had a tough time being able to buy any on pullbacks, those of you looking at like Solana and things, now's your chance to take a peek. You know, maybe you dip your toe in the water. If things get uglier, you get a little more aggressive. You'll hear from me more the cheaper things get. You know that I like to talk about things when they're down. I did that in late 22 and all of most of 23 to very little fanfare until October of 23 when shit just went wild and we had CGBT, BDP, many of these names, Fetch, that went up 10 to 12x between October of 23 to March of 24. Some of those profits that were taken off at that time has helped me to know that, you know, like even with my MEXC account where it is right now, I'm still up. It doesn't feel good. I don't like losing 800 grand on paper, but we will have these opportunities again. The plays like the order swaps, which are all the way back down to the mean. I mean, this is astonishing. Let me just check this. So, you know, you've got some of my top positions here, just so you guys see on my MEXC. You know, the values have come down quite a bit, but I mean, I've got 4.2 million Rubik. I'm at 325 in Big Data Protocol. I'm probably going to take that up. I hope it comes down to closer to a dime. I don't know if it will, but if it does, I'll be back at a 500,000 or more. TRVL, I just started buying 25,000 at a time. Like, you know, I'll do that twice a week now, very small amounts because I have like another big account with that in there. Order swap, you know, look at, I mean, I'm 2.25 million and I'm down a lot on this one. This chart, look at this weekly chart. What a brutal move. But we started getting in around here and then the thing freaking blew up. And now it's all the way back down to the mean. So you've got a penny. Holy shit. I'm getting off the phone, guys, because I'm going to go buy a little more order swap. I still love the ordinals plays. I like AI has been hammered the most, but it also went up the most in that last run. Don't give up on the AI tokens. We've got real world assets, DPIN, which is, you know, Honey. Hive Mapper is a great buy. But again, guys, look at first and foremost, just make sure that you've got some of the big ones ironed out in terms of the percentage allocation that you want in crypto where you're not having to chase it. You're one of the people that are buying on pullbacks. To me, that's like 2/3 of the whole game, guys. So just some thoughts on this while I'm sure a lot of you are nervous. This is another day in the life of crypto and a lunatic like me who lives and swims and breathes in risk and volatility. I have feelings too. They're small. They have to be penetrated with like, you know, rounds of ammunition. But I can feel, you know, this is getting severe. It could get a little bit worse, but it's pretty bad. And I'm putting money to work here gently, slowly, consistently, recurring buys. I have 9 recurring buys in my Coinbase account right now. You know, all kinds of them. So I'm happy with that because I don't have to worry about taking chunks of cash and putting it in. If I take a break because it's like, whoa, this is nuts. I don't know if we're going to continue to go down. That stuff's getting socked away whether I like it or not. I mean, it's probably about 12 grand a month that I have going into the Coinbase with 9 coins. So, you know, 1,000 a month on average, call it. You know, some of them are even much, much smaller, like $400 a month. You know, it's just you can do that with $40 a month. You can do that with $20 a week. You can do it with whatever you want. It's crypto. Just be on the right side of, you know, don't panic in this stuff, guys. Please, you're going to regret it. There is nothing derailing the fact that I'm convinced we are in, this is a mid-cycle abrupt pullback in crypto that is normal. And we haven't had one yet. I had been saying that I think it would be good for this industry if Bitcoin has a flush down to 50 or under 50K before it starts to rip. And the way Bitcoin and crypto work, guys, it's no mercy. If you're the one who ends up getting flushed out and it starts to go, you are going to want to stab yourself in the neck. Have a good day, guys. With that being said, keep your head on straight and continue to hold, but also put money selectively to work. And the more risk you want to take in some of the small ones, I've got Order Swap here at a freaking penny. This thing was just 28 cents a few months ago. I'm going to buy more. I mean, talk about a gift. What if this thing goes to $1 in the next run? That's life-changing money if you acted during peak fear. Cheers, guys.